it's Infinity Simone, and welcome back to my channel, Refined by Fire. In this video, I'll be going into part 2 of my testimony. So, I'm not going to waste too much time. I'm going to give a little recap of what I talked about in the last video. Then, I'll go right into part 2. So, last video, I kind of mentioned being a child battling with low self-esteem. I also talked about, my dad. He was a drinker, and with him drinking, he would always yell at me. He would threaten to whoop me, and kind of talked about how that affected me from child up until adulthood. How that made me always feel like I wasn't good enough, and he never really explained or expressed that I did anything well, or he never told me that he loved me, and so I thought he didn't love me. I then talked about being sexually abused and molested at the age of 8. I also went on to talk about how that event or those events affected me growing up, what it led to. It led to me being full of rage. I was angry. I became promiscuous. I was partying. I was clubbing. I was drinking. I dealt with urges and pornography and many other things. I then went on to talk about me being sexually abused again by a man in his 40s, a tattoo man. And lastly, I talked about an encounter I had with my grandmother. So she came to my room telling me something's going to happen to you. We had an encounter, we fought, whatever happened, and weeks, months, not long after that, something happened. So that's where I'm going into part 2. So for this part of the video, I took away all special effects, filters, all of that, because I want you guys to really see me as I am for this part of the story. It's not about being perfect. So last thing I said was that my grandmother told me that something was going to happen to me. We fought, we had whatever we had, and I say shortly, about a couple weeks, a month later, something happened. And so I will go into the weeks following up to this event. And so pretty much, again, I was on a dance team in my high school, had a few friends that we were looking forward to this party. So again, my birthday was March 12th. I had just had a birthday party. I just celebrated my birthday. The twin girls that were on the dance team with me, one of them, they did come to my birthday party. We danced, we had fun. Even within my birthday party, I still was partying, I was drinking, I was half dressed. I did get into it with a guy who busted my hotel room. He had his gun on him, which did not matter to me. I still tried to fight the man, even though he had a gun. Foolish of me, right? But I'm still in that mindset. I was willing to die for my respect. One of the twins, I will say names for this because I'm not finna try to, and again, I have nothing negative to say about them, but they play a significant part in this part of the story. So Tiana, she was a twin that did make it to my hotel party. She came, we danced, we had fun. Brianna, she wasn't able to make it. She had to work, I believe. So back to high school, me and Brianna, the twin, we used to be in gym class, and we was just, again, talking about this party that was coming up. So this party was on March 31st. My birthday was March 12th, so it was only, 2 weeks after my birthday. I was looking forward to this party. We was ready to go, dance, have fun. And so this date finally came, March 31st. And the plan was, the twins, they had a friend. I'm just call her Lex. They had a friend, and she was gonna have a car. She was gonna come pick me up. We all was gonna ride together to this party. And so that was the plan. That's what happened. I got the text message they was on the way. They didn't tell me they were outside. And so also, I do remember I had a friend who was wanting to come with me. She was a younger friend of mine. She wanted to come with me, but her mother told her no, she couldn't come. she also going to play a part in the story later. So her mom told her she could not come to the party. So I went again with the twins and Lex. So Lex came to pick me up. We got to the party. It wasn't everything that we was expecting it to be, but we made the best of it. You know, we still danced, whatever songs we had a dance too from being on the dance team. We asked them to put it on. We went, we performed, we hyped the crowd up or whatever. As time went on, they were, again, not me. They were looking for the next mission, the next thing to do. I was just with them, but they gave me the option. They asked me, you know, did you want to continue with us? Like, you want to go, whatever it was that they were going to do next. Did I want to go with them or did I want to go home? And of course, it was still early. I wasn't ready to go home. So I told them, yeah, I'll ride with y'all. And so Lex took her mom's car back to the house. And while we were waiting, I didn't know who was coming, what was about to happen. But they had a group of friends that were on the way. And it was about 2 or 3 cars. I'm sorry if I sound out of breath. But yeah, it was 2 or 3 cars. The first 2 got there. Lex's mom, she was sitting outside. We was all talking and laughing. And we was just waiting on the 3rd car to get there. And the 3rd car that got there was a white Monte Carlo. And when he pulled up, he was showing out, you know, driving fast or whatever. And Lex's mom, she was like, don't get in a car with him. We just laughed, you know, ha ha. We didn't give it no thought. So the twins, Tiana, Brianna, they both was talking. They was trying to decide who's gonna get in a car with me. So again, either one of them could have gotten in a car with me. Tiana chose to ride with me in the white Monte Carlo. They just pulled up. And so we all split into groups. Lex and Brianna, the twin, got in, I believe it was a red car. Me and Tiana got into the white Monte Carlo with, you know, the person that just pulled up. I suppose the 3rd car was already full. So after that, what I remember is, you know, we still in the neighborhood that I'm familiar with. And they were just trailing each other. We was trying to see, you know, who can lead the group. So they're driving fast. And they're just in and out of lanes, seeing who can, you know, lead the group. Until we got on this street called Hall Street, which I had never been on Hall Street until this day. So last thing I remember is the car that we were in. And again, I didn't say this either. So the person that was driving this car, I happened to know this person. I didn't know that he knew the group of people that, you know. Anyway, I happened to know him. We were from the same neighborhood. And we used to hang out every day, you know, on a trampoline when we were younger. Anyway, so the person that was driving, the guy that I said I knew, he tried to get in front of the car that the other twin was in, this red car. So the last thing I remember is him trying to get in front of the red car that the twin and Lex was in. After that, I don't remember what happened. But the twin, Brianna, she said that she happened to look back because they were in front of us. He was trying to get in front of them. And she told me that. So again, this was March 31st, Saturday going into Sunday, April 1st, April Fool's Day. And so Brianna, she said she happened to look back and she saw our car, the white Monte Carlo, spinning and just spinning out of control in the middle of the street. And so they hurry up, they pulled over, they tried to whatever. So the car spin out of control. Then we hit another car that was parked. After we hit the other car, the car just went in flames. Like, the car was on fire. And so they pulled over. They were trying to hurry up and get to us. They were trying to hurry up and get us out the car. And again, I'm not aware of any of this. This is just what I was told by Brianna, the twin that was not in the car with us. And so they were trying to get us out. The flames were too big, so there was nothing that they could do. So yeah, they were trying to get us out, and it was nothing that they could do. The flames were too big, and they're afraid, and they thinking that we're about to die. And there was nothing that they could do about it. So I'm assuming they began to call for help. They called their mom. They called whomever they called, and nobody really believed them because it was April Fool's Day. And nobody thought something this crazy, not in real life, not us. They didn't think that, we didn't think anything like this was going to happen. We were just on our way to the riverfront downtown and just going to kick it and hang out. But anyway, we never made it to the riverfront. And again, they're making phone calls. They're trying to figure out who's going to come save us, how they're going to get us out this burning car. From there, what I was told was, and I don't know how true, I've heard stories from the twin. I heard stories when I went back to school, and other people told me different things that I was told, because I was in the back seat. I was a backseat passenger. And Tiana, she was in the front passenger seat. I was told that I was thrown to the front of the car and hanging out of the passenger window, which means I would have been hanging out Tiana's window. I don't know how true that is, and it's hard to believe considering how much fire was around the car. Ain't no way I would be right here, right now. I don't know how true that is. I was also told that by the twin, Brianna, that as they were trying to get us out of the car, Tiana, so when the car was spinning and we hit the other car, it hit on Tiana's side. And so she got all the impact from hitting the other car. She was in a seatbelt, so she didn't have much place to move, after the car hit. And so she got all the impact, and they told me, or the twin told me, that as they were trying to get us out, her face fell off. And I know that sounds crazy. It don't sound believable. And I'll elaborate some more. So when she told me that, I'm not going to say I didn't believe her, but it was just like her face fell off. But later, her mom did show me a picture. And what she meant was all of this from the impact, the glass cut half of her face. And they had to remake her face with like wax. I'm getting too far ahead. But anyway, half of her face was cut. And from what I was told, that half fell away. So instantly they knew that she was gone. I'm assuming professional help had to come. They came, they put the fire out. They didn't know if I was dead or alive. But for sure, Tiana, she did not make it. She passed. And I believe they, of course, as they normally do, they got her out the car. They probably laid her in the grass on the blanket. There was nothing they could do for her. And I was rushed to Barnes Jewish Hospital. The guy that was driving, his friends somehow managed to get him out. He was already on the way to the hospital as well. From there, again, it's April Fool's Day. I'm sure they were telling everybody, but nobody believing them or believing that this really happened. I do remember having an outer body experience, and of course I wasn't aware of any of this that just happened, but I did see my body. It was like I was up high and looking down at myself, and I saw my body like laying on this, probably an operating table. I was face down, and that's all I saw. Like I said, I didn't really see anything past that, but I did see that. I saw myself laying there on this table. Maybe they didn't want me to choke on my blood, or I don't know. From there, so the friend that I told you that was not able to go with me to the party. So, okay, before I even go there, Brianna, this is a twin that's still here. They were asking her questions. I was a Jane Doe. She wasn't able to give them all the information that they needed. Properly identify me. And so, luckily they were able to get the phone of the guy that was driving. This is crazy how all this worked out. But again, the guy that was driving, he's from our neighborhood. The friend that wasn't able to go with me as well. From the same neighborhood, we had the same group of friends. Whomever he spoke to before he met with us, the guy that he last spoke to lived on the same street as my friend that wasn't able to go with me to the party. That guy went up to my friend's house. My friend was on the phone with the detectives or whoever getting information about me, so she was able to identify me and let them know, yeah, she has this tattoo, she has this tattoo on her leg, she got this tattoo on her arm. She just giving details about me. And once they were able to identify me, she went up to my house and they let my mom know what happened. You need to hurry and get to the hospital. Your daughter has been in a crash and you need to hurry and get here. So they didn't tell my mom if I was dead or alive. They just let her know that she really needed to get to the hospital and that it was serious, that it was critical. And so from there, I'm unconscious. I'm in a coma. Again, Tiana, she died. She passed away. So I'm assuming she might have been in a morgue at this point. Everybody is just scared straight, like this really happened, like this is real life. And they watched it, they seen it from the time it started to how it ended. Brianna saw her twin sister die. And I can only imagine again. So my mom officially made it to the hospital. I'm assuming my dad probably came with her. I know my dad, I was told that he broke down and he immediately started praying for me. My mom was still living. We all were still living with my grandmother at the time. And so I'm assuming the news got around what happened. It's April Fool's Day, so again, everybody's questioning if it's real or not. And I had friends come over to my grandmother's house, asking questions like, is this real? Did this happen? And later I had friends tell me, like my grandmother was telling them, yes, that she in the hospital, something happened to her. I told her something was gonna happen to her. And it's her mama's fault. And she's telling my friends, she told me something was gonna happen to me. But anyway, again, the news got around quickly. So I'm fighting for my life. I had another out-of-body experience where I was in a bed. I was able to see my mom, and I saw the doctors coming in, hurrying to put a mask over my face. And so I'll go into my injuries. So starters, I had a brain injury. I had a traumatic brain injury. I had a fracture in my face, like my bone was broke up in here above my eye. I also had my nose cut right here. It was slightly detached on the side of my nose. I don't know how well you guys could see. Because I have this scar here. My nose right here was slightly detached. I had braces at the time. And because, I guess, the spinning of the car and the impact from hitting the other car, I bit through my bottom lip. And so, I had a hole underneath here from biting through my lip. I also had a neck and spinal injury. I had 3 broken ribs, a collapsed lung. I had a breathing tube. I wasn't breathing on my own. So when I saw them putting this mask over my face, it might have been to give me oxygen because my lung had collapsed. I also had a feeding tube because I was unconscious. I was in a coma. And they had to feed me. I was losing weight quickly. So I had a feeding tube. What else? Is there anything else? Overall, I had the feeding tube. I had a breathing tube. I wasn't breathing on my own. I had a collapsed lung. I had 3 broken ribs. my shoulder, I forgot. I have a metal plate and screws in my shoulder. I don't know if you could see that. So there's a metal plate going across and screws going into my clavicle, a shoulder bone, so collarbone. My shoulder was broken in 2 or 3 places, I believe, and it was bad, you know. Neck and spinal injury, had a brain injury. My face was broken up. I had a nasal fracture all up in here as well. It was broken in my nose. So those were my injuries. I was in a coma for, I don't think it was a full month. For some weeks I was in a coma though. And again, my birthday had just passed, March 12th. We're at April 1st. And the twins, Tiana and Brianna, their birthday was April 12th. I'm March 12th. It's April 1st. Their birthday was April 12th. So I almost lost my life 2 weeks after my birthday. Tiana lost her life 2 weeks before her birthday. And they were seniors in high school. They were getting ready to graduate next month. It was just crazy. But anyway, again, I was in a coma still. I eventually began to gain some consciousness. I was able to hear. I heard people talking around me and talking to me. And I immediately began to have like nightmares. I began to have nightmares of men doing something to me. I began to continue to have the dreams of somebody trying to kill me. And there was nothing I could do about it. I couldn't open my eyes. My eyes were swollen shut. I couldn't wake up from these dreams, and I was being tormented in my mind. As well, I guess they began to realize that I could hear them because maybe my hand, I was moving, you know. So they knew that I could hear them. Maybe I reacted in some way. I don't remember a whole lot. I just remember hearing noise. I remember people asking me questions. I remember still not being able to see. But I had questions because I didn't know what was going on. I can hear what's going on around me, but I didn't understand why I couldn't see. I didn't understand where I was or any of those questions. So I couldn't see, but I tried to write. Like my mom gave me a notebook and a pen. I still have the notebook and the pen to this day. But I began to write and ask questions. Of course, my handwriting was barely readable. But I'm asking questions like, where am I? My mom was like, you're in the hospital. She would say it. Of course, she couldn't write it back to me. I couldn't see. So she told me that you're in the hospital. And I was like, why? She said that you were in a car accident. And immediately I was like, in a car accident? Like, I've never been in a car accident in my life. What do you mean I was in a car accident? So I asked her, was I with you? We was in the accident? Like, who was I in the car with? And she told me with the twins. For whatever reason, I didn't know what twins she was talking about. Twins? I'm like, what twins? So then she said their names, Brianna, Tiana. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Because they were like, I didn't really talk too much about them before. They were the life of the party. Anytime the twins came or was around, you can expect nothing but fun. They were full of life, so talented, they were so much. In double times, like I said, man, they were amazing. But anyway, so when she said their names, I got excited. So I then asked, are they here? And she told me that Brianna and her mom would be here later at the hospital. I then asked, what about Tiana? And she told me she didn't make it. Immediately, when she said those words, I don't even remember the moment of me. Like, I don't remember if I cried and everything still, it just didn't sound real at all. I just found out that I was in an accident, which, again, I didn't understand how. Then you tell me that I was in an accident with the twins and Tiana didn't make it. The last memory I have of Tiana is us getting in the car and I'm looking at her from the back seat. So now you're telling me that she's dead. I didn't know how to process that. And so, again, I don't even remember if I cried. But again, Brianna and their mom was coming to talk to me or come check on me. From there, I think I asked, when is her funeral or something like that. It had already passed. So I missed everything. It's like I got knocked out. Had no awareness of anything that happened. I wake up being told that this happened and she died, and now you telling me I missed the funeral as well. So now there's no way for me to actually like visual see like this is real. Like these are just words. This is just what I'm hearing. And so I do remember the twin and their mom came. They talked to me. They gave me the details of what happened. I don't recall being able to see very well. I don't really remember at what point was I able to see or when my eyes actually opened up. But I do remember friends began to come up there to see me. They were up there before I even knew they were there. When I was in a coma, they were up there visiting me as well. But now that I'm, more alert and I can't really talk, I still can't talk. I had the breathing tube down my throat, so that affected my voice for years. Even right now, like I'm talking, but I can't talk loud, I can't scream, I can't yell. My voice would just stop. But at this time, it was like my lips would move, but no sound would come out. And so I had friends come, family were there. And again, I don't remember a whole lot. It just, everything was in slow motion at this point in my life. Like, life did not seem real to me. I continued to have dreams and nightmares. I didn't want to go to sleep in the hospital. I was ready to go home. I remember asking where my phone was. And of course, my phone got destroyed in the car accident, so I didn't have a phone. And crazy thing is, I asked about my clothes. I'm like, so where's my clothes? Like, I remember the outfit I had on. And I got upset because they cut my clothes off of me. It's a traumatic event. Like, they don't know if I'm dead, if I'm alive, what bones are broken. They had to cut my clothes off of me. And here I am upset that I wasn't going to get my boots back or my clothes, or like my life nearly was taken from me. Or, I almost just lost my life, but here I am worried about some clothes. But anyway, I'm just going to skip from, I'm not going to skip. I asked about my phone. I asked about my phone because I had just went on a first date with somebody the weekend before this accident happened. So I guess I remembered him eventually, and I asked about him. Of course, I didn't have my phone. I didn't have my number. But my friend that was not able to go with me to the party had his friend's number. So I had her text her friend. Her friend text him, his friend. He texts my mom number. I went through all that just to talk to him. And also, I had an ex at the hospital that I didn't know he was there. Matter of fact, the one I mentioned in the first video, that everything went well with us. I just was going through a lot with being molested, and it happened in a second time, being touched again. And yeah, so we split up. But again, we never broke up because things were bad with us. But anyway, he was heartbroken as well. He was at the hospital. But when he was there, I was still in a coma, so I didn't even know that he was there. By the time I woke up, he left to go to Costa Rica. I had no knowledge of him being there. But because, again, the last person I remembered talking to was the guy that I just went on a date with prior to the accident. And so I was looking for him. Like I said, he texted my mom's phone. We was texting back and forth. Him and his family was up there as well. They had already been to the hospital before I even was looking for him. So him and his family were up there at the hospital. His family were, I don't want to say a church family, but they were in God. Like, they believed in God. They came and prayed over my body when I was in a coma. They continued to come up there and pray and come to see me. At the time, I remember my stepsister, my brother's sister, not my blood sister, but anyway, I recall her saying to me, like, who's this guy that keep coming up here? You know, him and his family, they've been up here, you know, he's finna go to college. Because he was about to graduate with the twins. They were all in the same grade. But, yeah, he's finna go to college. He cute. He keep coming to see you. He must really care about you. My mom, I believe, said something along the same lines. But anyway, I told him what she had said. And so we got into a relationship while I was still in the hospital. I'm not going to go too far into that right now. But I'll jump into coming out of the hospital and how everything began to sit in. Because now I'm out of the hospital finally. And I know there's parts that I missed that I'm not going to touch on. But I am writing a book about my life story. So if you want all the details, I'll let you know when my book is done being written. But anyway, being out of the hospital, reality began to set in. Not everybody that was at the hospital was there with me every day, you know, when I got home. I'm able to get back on social media. I'm seeing everybody post, rest in peace this, rest in peace that, get well soon, infinity, and, you know, everybody's talking about what happened. Everybody is all over the internet. And it's like, wow, like, this is real. Like, this really happened. And thankfully, I thank God. I wasn't aware of any. I didn't see any of it. I didn't feel any of it. They had me so drugged up. I did not experience any pain from any of the broken bones that I had. It was almost like it never happened. But it was more for me the mental torment and survivor's guilt. I felt guilty that I was still here and she passed. And the fact, again, I told you they were full of life. They were so gifted and talented, and they were about to go to college. They were about to do some big things. They were actors. They danced. They did everything. Like, they had an idea of what they were going to do. They knew what they wanted to do. They were about to pursue their dreams, and just like that, it was taken, you know. And so I didn't have any of that planned out for me. Like, I didn't know if I was going to college, what I would go to college for, what I wanted to do with my life. So I felt guilty that her dreams were taken from her, and here I am here, and I don't have no plan for my life at all. You know, I found myself wishing that I could give her my life, just so, again, that void of her sister. Like, they were identical twins. So anytime Brianna look at herself in the mirror, she see her sister. And the last memory she have of her sister is her face falling off. And I just felt bad. I felt so guilty. And I know it was nothing I did. I knew it wasn't my fault. I knew it was nothing that I could do about it. But I didn't understand why God kept me and allowed this to happen to her. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. But anyway, again, reality is settling in. Like, I'm seeing it everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. I did have to go back to the school. to figure out, the rest of the school year. Because, of course, I wasn't able to finish the school year. It happened April 1st, so we still had like a month and a half left of school before school was over. They weren't really trying to work with me, surprisingly. Like, and it's not no shame or no me trying to, me being jealous or anything. It would make sense. But Brianna, the twin that, she wasn't in a car accident. The twin, anyway. They let her, like, she didn't have to finish the school year. And they was going to let her walk the stage and graduate. Like, no problem. I believe that was good. That was a nice thing. But when it came to me actually being in the car accident, me being in a coma, me actually not being able to come to school, I'm fighting for my life. They wanted to pile up on me the rest of that semester, they wanted me to redo that semester of school, including takes the 7 classes, like the next school year, take my 7 classes on top of what I missed the year prior because of the accident. I understand, like, yes, what Brianna went through was very, I'm glad they did that for her. But for me, they were going to pile all these classes. It's 14 classes my senior year because I almost died and I couldn't be there to finish the school year. And so I was going through that. Like, I was ready to drop out when they told me that. And yes, it was my senior year. I only had a semester to go because I graduated early. I only had a semester to go. I was ready to drop out the moment you told me, and I'm still not in a state of mind. Like, I still can't talk. I'm still going to therapy. I'm still back and forth to different doctors. I'm still going through it. Like, my friend just died. This is the first death that I've ever experienced. If nobody in my life has ever died. Nobody. Of course, that I actually knew. This was the first death I've ever experienced. And so I'm grieving. And I'm still struggling. Like, my breathing wasn't well. I couldn't see well. I couldn't talk. I couldn't remember it well. Like, my vision wasn't all the way there. Like, I'm still going through stuff. And they were trying to pile 14 classes on me. I was ready to drop out. And so I will go back into the relationship that I started while I was in the hospital. Starting off, everything went well. He was there for me. We went to prom. I got out the hospital, I say about May 3rd, May 5th. I went to prom around like May 7th. So only a month and a few days after, which I'm going to show the pictures of what I looked like. Only a month and a few days after this tragic event, I was going to prom. And again, that's the grace of God. Like, ain't no way I should have been able to go to prom just a month and a few days after this happened. But I did. And so I went to prom with him. It was his senior year, just as it was the twins' last year. Again, he was there for me. He was there. And really, that relationship at the time was the only thing I had to be happy about. At the time, I didn't look at me making it was something to be proud of or to be happy about. Time went on. Okay, this is before the next school year was about to start. So, again, my friend, that was the first death that I experienced. July 19th, I remember a phone call came in. It was the middle of the night. And I heard my mom crying. I just walked out my room trying to see what's going on. And she told me that my cousin had been murdered. So now I'm dealing with everything that I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with the death of my friend, now my cousin, who was murdered. And from there again, and I'm about to go start school. I didn't even want to go back to school. again, I wanted to drop out. I was going to drop out, but my mom would not let me. It wasn't an option. So she did whatever she could to make sure they handled those classes from the year prior. I was not going to take those classes. The year was almost over. She was able to talk to the superintendent, and he was able to have me just take the final for that test. If I got a certain grade or a certain percentage, I passed, and that's it. I don't have to worry about those classes. And so a lot of teachers, they didn't even make me take the test. They were just like, I'll tell them that you made this, you had this score. Don't worry about taking a test. And so thankfully that worked out. And I just had to focus on, that school year, which a lot of that was like, what they call it, student aid. So maybe I'm running errands for teachers or running errands for the office or whatever. So I didn't really have that many classes, and it all worked out. But going back to this relationship, I can only imagine what he was going through, because I'm sure he hadn't been with anybody that has been through near as much as what I was going through. And so I'm sure it was taking a toll out on him too. Like, dang, she almost died, her friend died, now her cousin died. And then, now it's almost my birthday. Here we are, February. One of my childhood friends got murdered as well. I'm grieving over 3 people. And then after that, another friend got murdered. It was just like, it would not stop. People start dropping like flies. And I couldn't keep up. It was like, I have not got past the one person. And after that, everybody just started dying around me. People I grew up with, family, and all of that. And so I was losing it. I really didn't feel like I could go on. I didn't feel like I wanted to go on. I was fighting to live as well. Again, I can only imagine what he was going through, trying to be there for me. And I'm not trying to give too much info, but in this relationship, I lost my virginity. I was still a virgin at the time the accident happened. And so when I finally did lose my virginity, I told you in the first video, I struggled with watching pornography. I had urges from being molested that I had to relieve myself, masturbation or all these other things that I struggled with due to that. So when I actually lost my virginity, I actually went through with the act. I became addicted to sex. I became addicted to the feeling. And it was like, especially with everything that I was going through, I was kind of using that to escape and to cope with everything that was going on. And so now, not only I'm going through all this and all these deaths happening, we started doing that, and it was like I was seeking it. I'm seeking it so much, and he's probably burnt out. He's getting burnt out because I'm requiring it and I'm asking for it so much. Because again, not only our relationship was the only thing that I had to be happy about, that seemed to be the thing to keep me from, kicking over the can, or, what I'm saying? Like, it was a way of coping for me. And I'll just rush to the end of this relationship. So things began to get rocky. What I was going through was too much. And we're still young, still in high school, just graduating high school. And so instead of him just telling me that it was too much, he began to talk to other women. There were a couple exes that he was talking to. I realized a change in behavior. I became suspicious. And I went through his phone while he was asleep, and I found the messages. And again, he was the only thing I had to be happy about. And so finding out that he was talking to other women took me over. Like, I'm already going through a lot, and you too. I feel like you're gonna betray me too. So all of my anxiety medication, I was on anxiety and depression medication before I knew that I had anxiety and depression. I tried to take all the pills. I tried to down all the pills that was in the bottle, and I'm not even a pill taker. So, of course, all of them didn't even go down. I began choking and throwing it up. And he woke up and saw that I was trying to take my life. And yeah, that was my first attempt to take my life. This continued. It was another ex after that. And he just began to treat me different, I remember him saying something like, his dad friend went through a traumatic experience too. I think he lost his leg in some kind of accident or something, and he don't go around moping and being sad. But this wasn't a scenario or a situation that you can compare. Like, I'm sorry for, to hear about what happened to your dad friend, but this is different. And you can't, and again, he's young. I'm not at all mad for what he said, but you can't rush my process or expect me to go through what I'm going through the same way that he did. And he did not have a friend that died in the car with him, you know what I'm saying? And so, but he was pretty much trying to rush my recovery and trying to rush my process. And it wasn't a quick process. And again, things were piling up on top of things, on top of each other, death after death after death after death. And I'm going through this. And like I said, I'm not even well myself. And so, again, instead of just telling me, like, it's too much for him, he just began to treat me different. He began to call me stupid or treat me like I'm stupid because my memory wasn't all the way there. Or my mind still takes a minute to process things. So the fact it may take a minute for me to even register what I heard, what I'm seeing, he would call me dumb and stupid, or make me feel dumb or stupid, or he would say, he just wasn't kind. He didn't talk to me in a nice way. And this was a side of him that I never expected, because again, before, he was there for me. He cared about me. He loved me, at least I thought. And so, again, I felt betrayed. And the end of that relationship, it was another ex. He pretty much told me, like, he been thinking and he think that he can live without me. And that it was this ex that he was going to go see or go help. And it's my choice, whether I choose to be with him or not, he was going to go be with her. And as crazy as this is, I was willing to still be with him or okay that. Because again, I felt like that was the only thing I had left. And even I wasn't happy at this point, but I was willing to hold on to it because I had nothing else to hold on to. He became a crutch for me. And so at this point, again, I start having dreams again. I'm having dreams. I'm being attacked. I feel like I'm dying every single day. I feel like I'm waking only to die again. I'm trying to sleep. Like, I will sleep all day long just to avoid the panic attacks or hyperventilation, or just, it would seem like I get hit with something. I'm like, I can't breathe, and it feel like I'm about to start seizuring. I feel like I'm about to die. And it would happen multiple times throughout the day. Sometimes it happened back to back. I used to try to sleep to avoid dealing with that. It would wake me up out of my sleep. And I just felt like I was being attacked. And I know it was spiritual warfare. I know that now. At that time, I didn't understand what was happening. So after that, I didn't have him to be around. I was hanging with whoever I could hang around. I didn't want to be by myself. I began hanging with the twin and with her mom and, just anybody I could be around. I forgot this. I did attempt, or was about to attempt to take my life again. So I think this might have been after another incident where I found out he was talking to somebody else. Or maybe I'm just fed up with everything, and I sent him a suicide text. Like, I let him know, like, I'm tired and I can't fight no more. This is it for me. I'm done. Like, I don't want to be here no more. I'm sorry. And so he called his dad. His dad called my mom. My mom came to the school. My mom called the school. And so I remember walking out of my class. It was video production class. And I walked out of there crying. This was me on my way to where I was going to in my life. It was a staircase. It's like 3 levels. So I was at the very top. There's the middle and there's the bottom. I was willing to just, I don't know if I was going to jump or just climb over the railing and just fall to the bottom. But no, I made it to the staircase, but the counselor saw me. She started calling my name, and I just started crying, and I didn't even get the chance to go over the railing. And so my mom got there. She took me home, and I was writing her suicide letters. I was letting her know I didn't want to live. I didn't want to be here. It was just nothing that nobody could do for me. You know, I was going to therapists. I was going to a counselor. They had me on medication. The medication wasn't doing nothing. I had money. I got paid for this accident, over $100,000, and it was nothing I could buy. There was nothing that I could do to help me. The doctors didn't seem to have any solutions or even could find. Again, there was nothing that nobody could do for me. And I'm mad at God at this point because I'm like, God, you allowing me to suffer like this. Like, why didn't you just let me die with Tiana or let her be here and I'll be gone? Like, you allowed me to stay here so I can suffer. And I just couldn't understand why, you know. I felt like he did this intentionally. It had no intent on coming to save me. But again, the devil started talking to me in my mind. Had me visualizing myself in a casket, and he was just telling me, like, you know, where everybody else at now? Everybody was at the hospital when they thought you wasn't gonna make it, but you here now, where everybody at now? And he used to tell me, like, you know, you tired. He's like, you can end all this. You don't have to go through this. He was like, you could run your car into this light pole. He would tell me, you don't have to go through this. He was like, just like anybody else that passed away, they gonna go on with their life. Life just gonna go on. They won't be sad for long. And in my head, it's making sense. And he even got to talking about, like, you know, anybody who ever hurt you, they gonna feel bad about what they did to you, having to come to your funeral, and they gonna have to think about all the horrible things they did to you and all of that. And like I said, the devil is putting all these thoughts in my mind. And it's making sense. And I'm just shaking my head like, yeah. And he was trying to convince me to take my life time and time and time again. Like I said, yes, I attempted it with the pills. Yes, I was getting ready to do it at the school. He then was trying to get me to run my car into the light pole or take my life anytime I got in the car. I didn't hear God at all. God seemed to be so far. I didn't even know if God was real at this point. I'm like, I didn't want nothing to do with God. I was mad. Like, take me now. Kill me. Like, take me right now. Why do you got me here? So I was suicidal. Death seemed like the only escape, the only way. I felt like I had no hope. And again, there was nothing nobody could do for me. So what am I supposed to do? I'm not finna suffer another day of this. And so I thought I was gonna suffer for the rest of my life. I thought my life would never get better. I thought my voice would never come back. My vision was always gonna be the way it was. I couldn't breathe well. I was just, why am I even here? What's the point of me being here? Is how I felt. Again, I was spending whatever I can buy. Anything I ever thought I ever wanted in life, I bought it. No, I tried to hang with friends, be around friends. The relationship, the one thing I thought I had that made me happy, that was gone. My parents could do nothing. They didn't understand what I was going through. It was nothing worth me staying. I didn't care how sad my parents would be. I didn't care how my brother or anybody would feel because they're not going through what I'm going through. They're not suffering like I'm suffering. And so there was nothing anybody could say to make me want to stay. I began to seek ways to get free. Either I end my life or I find a way out. I feel like my life wasn't worth it. I've suffered before this happened. I'm suffering even more now. I feel like life had never been good enough for me to even fight through this and expect anything better in the end. Like, I've been trying to cope with life all my life, and so now it's like life has never been good enough for me to even want to see what's on the other side of this. I didn't see no way out. I did attempt to take my life. It never worked out. I was praying, asking God to take me. He wouldn't do it. And so I'm start watching videos. I start buying books about things that I'm going through. And I came upon a video that was telling me, like, nobody's coming to save you. And you your own God. You got to save yourself. And I just began to believe these things. And I feel like nobody was coming to save me because I had been suffering for so long already. And God has not done anything. At least it's what it seemed like. I really feel like nobody was coming to save me and that this was going to be my life forever. And I was like, forget that. Like, I would die right now before I even think about going another day going through this. And again, I left a lot of details out, but I don't want this video being extremely long. Okay, y'all. So I'm going to cut this video right here. I don't want it to be very long, and I feel like this is a good stopping point. So I want y'all to be prepared for part 3. Like, I know I didn't give any points or anything that stood out like I did in the last video. But I want y'all to know, like, by the end of this testimony, y'all gonna be inspired. Y'all gonna, if you don't believe now, you will believe after hearing the rest of this testimony. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for your time. And I hope to see you in the next video. And I want you guys to comment and share whatever thoughts or any way that this video may have impacted you. Share with me if you've had any similar experiences or if you had any of the same thoughts or feelings that I've experienced. I want to interact with you all as well. So again, be willing to share whatever it is that you're comfortable with sharing in the comments. But again, thank y'all for your time. I'll see you in the next video.